Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be doing something really exciting, and that's fitting the rear sets to my MT10SP project bike. But as you can see, if you've got an observant eye, they're actually already fitted, and that's because I've decided to re-record the intro after the fact. The thing is, the instructions for installation of the rear set don't exactly match the current MT10SP. I just want to point a couple of things out to you. If you just come in here, on the brake side, when you've got your original peg on here, you need to pull the whole thing off. Once you've removed it by undoing these two bolts and also your mounting brackets for your exhaust, you need to remove the switch that is connected to your brake light, makes your brake light illuminate, and also the brake return spring. And you also need to remove the brake master cylinder, and there's a little pin down the bottom here that obviously actuates the brake master cylinder. Once you take off the peg, you can spin it around, you can seal that. The instructions are a little bit confusing. So if you just take off your original peg and spin it around, have a look, as you'll see in the video I'm about to do, it'll make sense. So just take your time with it. It's not too hard. I just wanted to point that out. This is everything you get in the pack. Love this Gilly stuff. It's really top quality gear. So you need a bit of bench space to get started because there is a bit of assembly required, as you can see, including little tiny clips, so be careful with those. Everything goes together quite well. It's pretty hard to put it together incorrectly. So once you get your two resets together on the bench, we're going to start on the brake side because that's the more difficult. Just undo your brackets for your exhaust system. Then once you've done that, take off your foot peg mounting. Now in the back here you can see you've got springs for the brake return, the brake light, and also your master cylinder. First thing to do is pull your master cylinder pin out, then take off your return spring and your brake light switch, undo all that. And as you can see, that's what you're left with. On the bench, put your return spring on the reset. Once that's all working properly, head back to the bike. Just put it on finger tight, your peg on there, and now you've got to connect your master cylinder up. It's a little bit tricky. There's choices on different ways to do it, and once you've done that, you can see that there's also two bolts to hold the master cylinder on. So by now you should have your 4 bolts in holding it up, plus your 2 bolts for your master cylinder. Do up your mounting for your exhaust, and once you tighten everything up, make sure your brake works, then put your heel guard in. Pretty straightforward if you take your time. Then on the gear shift side, it's a bit more straightforward. Take off your old hanger and your gear shifter with the rod, and once you've done that, you put your new gear shifter on first. There's a little spacer that comes in a plastic bag, and that's how you put that together. There's also a spacer on the rear, can only go in one way. Then just put your shifter on. Make sure you're putting Loctite on all these bolts. Put your shifter on, make sure it's facing the correct way. Then put your hanger on before you connect up your shifting rod. A little bit more Loctite. There's a couple of places you can connect the rod. I went with the one closest to my foot. Connect that up, and that rod, if you need to adjust the length of the gear shift for your foot, you can just do it via that rod. Just needs a little 10mm. And while we were here, we also decided to put on the rim stickers. Pretty straightforward. Just make sure your rims are clean before you start, then give them a clean with the supply cloth. Take your sticker, put it on nice and straight. Took a few goes to get it on straight. When I say a few goes, just gently. Once it's stuck down with your finger like this, you cannot get it off again. So once you know it's all straight, press it down all over and slowly pull the backing off. Take your time with it. Get a nice clean cloth and just give it all a rub so it all sticks down nicely. And then spin around and do the other side. So good to get yourself nice and low on the bike here. Don't stick it down hard the first time. Just have a few trial runs and then slowly put it all into place. So I put white ones on the back to see what they look like, and they turned out looking awesome. I bought some black ones for the front. Wasn't too fussed on the black, but once they're on you can't see them, so I won't worry about taking them off. And they're also a little bit trickier to put on at the front. The rear stickers are a bit curved, whereas the front ones are straight, so it took a couple of goes to get those straight before I pushed them down, and even then they're not perfectly straight. Might just leave the front. I like the whites on the back. While I was at it, I also installed the rear chain guard from the Shop Yamaha collection, and also the top box arrived, the 45 litre top box with the backrest. Not the best looking accessory. I don't ride around with it on all the time, but if I'm taking the wife for a spin or I need to go on an overnight trip, the top box is an awesome accessory. See you at the next one.